Hello my lovelies, I'm Jason and welcome to Allotment of the Dead. In this instalment I'll be looking at why I have called this Allotment of the Dead. We've got a few plants here that are pretty much toxic to touch, toxic to eat, and have the potential to kill you. As you see behind me, there's a nice little signpost there that says poison, and there's a couple of those around the plot, and it's just to make sure that people are aware that if they do come stealing from my plot, that they're really taking a big risk. So what plants have we got that are poisonous? Let's have a quick look. I'll go into more of these plants as plant previews in a short while, but I thought as the season was going on, things like the foxgloves and the aconitum are flowering and they're going over, so we'll try and get some of the pictures of the flowers before they actually die off. Okay, let's go and have a look. I think the first thing you'll notice that when I'm dealing with anything in regards to these plants, gloves are the definite thing you definitely need. If you go touching some of these plants without them, you have a massive risk to your health and potentially passing it on to other people as well. So what have we got? In terms of foxgloves, these foxgloves here are one of the more rarer varieties. It's not quite the same as the ones you get in your local gardens and in your local parks, National Trust places. These are a lot smaller in terms of the little flower on them. Smaller bees tend to go into these ones. This particular one is called the rusty foxglove. It's more like the wild type than the purpura ones, which are the ones with the massive big flowers on them. And if you see slightly behind, there's this kind of spiky leaf plant here, and this is one of our more dangerous plants in the UK. If you see the little flowers on there, which looks a little bit like a monk's habit, this gives it the name monkshood. So monkshood is also known as wolfsbane, the queen of poisons. So these plants are full of aconite, and aconite potentially has the potential to maim, kill, and generally not make you feel very well for quite a while. We'll go and have a look at some of the other plants now. So as I've said, a lot of my normal, I say normal inverted commas, foxgloves have gone over, so leaving these nice little seed things on them, and what I've got left is a lot of these more smaller varieties with, again, these beautiful flowers on them. The aconite that you saw there was the white variety, so this one in front of me will probably turn out blue. We'll come back to this when the flowers are out, because it should be quite a nice looking plant. If you notice behind, all the plants down the bottom there are probably foxglove. There's going to be a mixture of foxglove and borage in there, but it looks like most of those are foxglove. Foxgloves are biennial, which means that when the seeds hit the floor, they'll make a nice plant one in the first year, and in the second year they'll make these nice spears of flowers that you've seen. And if you see here, again, it's another one that's just gone to seed, but these are again the small flowered varieties which I've got more into of late. There's a really tiny flowered one on the back, which is, see if it will focus. There we go. So little tiny ones, so you get little hoverflies and stuff go in and pollinate those. If you look down the bottom here, you'll see what looks a little bit like bindweed. This one's actually a datura plant, so it's a datura vine, and it actually, the other name for this one is called moonflower. So it grows a little bit like a bindweed. You get a nice big white flower on there. It's about as big as a dinner plate, which will come out at night, hence why they call it moonflower, and the smell will be really, really nice. And as with most of these plants, they're pollinated by moths, hence why I've got lots of lights around the plot as well. Right in the middle we've got a native wild flower, which is again toxic, the seeds more than anything. This is corn cockle. You'll find this in most of your wild bird seed and things like that. And again, beautiful little tiny flowers there. Okay, and in front of this, unfortunately you're not going to see this one in flower at the moment. So this 5-leaf plant here is your hellebore. So hellebores, every part of it is poisonous, and they call it the winter rose. So this is the flower when it's gone over. Still looks really pretty. Okay, right, let's go and have a look at the bad boys. Okay, this one hiding behind the door. Let me just close this door over a minute. So you got this nice big leaf plant here, and this is your castor oil plant or castor bean plant. Looks a little bit like a Fatsia japonica, completely totally unrelated, different plants completely. And if you'll see on this one, you've got some nice flowers coming, and they'll make some really beautiful seeds. The seeds of these, when I first got them, when I first planted this plant, I thought they were the most amazing looking things. But again, we'll talk a bit more about this plant as time goes on. This plant is one of the sources of a poison called ricin. Ricin is pretty much a horrible neurotoxin that can really kill you quite quickly. Okay, we've moved to the polytunnel now, so you can see these absolutely beautiful lilies here. So the lilies, like most lilies, are toxic. If you were to eat the bulb of a lily, you'd be very, very ill. Especially this one. This is the Gloriosa lily, or the fire lily is the other name for it, and it's going to have lots of beautiful flowers on this, hopefully throughout the rest of the summer. These are the first flowers of this plant. And you'll notice that again they grow almost like a vine. You get the little flowers coming off at the top. Let's see if you'll focus. There we go. So those will become some gorgeous flowers. In front of these in pots, and now I tend to put these in pots. I don't want to be able to have to move past these too often. So this one here and the one behind me are probably two of the most toxic plants we've got in the UK. Most of these have actually died off in the wild. So this particular plant in front of you now is Brugmansia. The other name for this is angel's trumpet. So called because it will call you to heaven. So these have really, really nice white and pink big tubular flowers on them, which really smell at night as well. So again, they're pollinated at night. And then this one behind me that looks really, really brutal, them dark stems. This is another species of datura. So datura again looks really similar to Brugmansia, but this one's actually called devil's trumpet. So devils and angels both really want to kill you, but both of these plants are really, really gorgeous when they're in full flower. I'll talk about these a little bit more in one of my plant previews. Okay, here's the one I forgot almost to tell you about. So a lot of people will recognise as sweet peas. So sweet peas, unlike normal peas, are actually toxic if you eat them. So the seeds of these are something that really won't do you any good. Give you really bad stomach and diarrhea and vomiting and things like that. But they smell absolutely gorgeous. lots of different colours, varieties, and taking some of these home and sticking them in a little vase on your windowsill, you'll have the smell for quite a while. So in terms of poison plants, those are what I've got on the plot at the moment. I'm still looking always for more, and I've got a couple of plants that I've got seeds for, like mandrake. I did think about getting henbane. Now henbane is actually called it stinkweed, so I'm not sure I want to grow that one. But again, it'd be really interesting probably to see what it looks like. So that's where we are with that. I know you might get some comments about potentially some of the other really nasty ones that we've got wild growing in the UK, like hemlock and the giant hogweed. That again, those are two plants that really I don't want to contend with on this plot. The risks of getting accidental poisoning from hemlock is probably too much of a risk, especially on this plot where potentially we've got other plot holders and things, and the horrible things that giant hogweed can do to you if you get the sap on your skin is just not something I want to contend with on this plot. And I think I'd probably have a few complaints from the other plot holders that I had these growing, because again they can get sort of out of control. So those are the poison plants I've got. I'm going to actually talk about them a little bit more in the plant previews that I do. I just wanted to make sure that I managed to get some of these while they're still in flower. I know I've still got some aconite on monk's hood still to come out, so hopefully we should still get some really beautiful flowers off those. But kind of that's where we are with the plot in terms of the poison plants. So thanks very much, all the best, and goodbye.